back to the class, everyone. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrates it. You don't have to worry either. This was pre-recorded. We're not having to do any of this on the exact day. Secondly, double drops are officially here, and it's time we looked at how to be most efficient during them. So as slightly implied before, we've already talked about the whole hoarding process, what we should have done several days leading up to this, and able to kind of have these max huge numbers right here so that when we actually come into double drops, we'll already have a good amount to work off of and get more bang for our buck, because instead of using it when it was only a single drop, we're now going to use the energy when it's a double drop while not actually burning that much energy to begin with. You'll notice that I did not do it with my normal energy, and that's purely because I'm currently in, actually not purely, there's two reasons. I'm currently wanting to hit all of my raid tickets for my guild, and on top of that, I also have a Galactic Legend, Leia, right now that I'm going after that I need to make sure that I'm getting tickets for as well. All of that being said, there's two things I want to cover today in this video, and number one, that is how and why you should refresh, and then after that I want to take a little bit of what nodes are going to be the best bang for your buck, because that does change just slightly while this event is going on. I know a lot of people out there will just say, all right, just farm what you normally farm and get double, and while that's mostly true, there are some intricacies we need to talk about. So first off, let's talk a little bit about refreshing your energy. So basically what it comes down to is whatever you would refresh on a normally daily basis, you should do double that during double drops and nothing more. So if you don't refresh an energy at all, typically you just want to do the first three. So kind of explain this, most of the energy does cost about 50 crystals when you first buy it. The second time, once you get through those three refreshes, it will then cost 100. The only exception for this is going to be Cantina, that starts immediately at 100 and goes to 200. Just a little reminder for everyone who has forgotten, the 200s for Cantina, there's only 2 of them. Don't click it a third time, you'll burn crystals. And the reason why we only want to go up to the 100s in the case of normal, fleet, and mod energy is because the 200s are no longer good value. You can't pay 4 times the amount of the energy and then get only double the rewards from it and expect good value. By that point, it's bad. So realistically, for my example, I want to do the 50s and the 100s with the normal and the mod energy. And then as a further example for you guys, I'm actually not going to go into the 100 with fleet energy, because the place that my account currently is at when it comes to fleet energy is I'm not even doing the 50s on a daily basis. So that being said, I only want to go into the 50s because that's where the value kind of stops for me. Going into the 100s will be the same as the 50s on a normal day, and since it's not doing that on a normal day, there's really no point in it. So that's really how we do want to be refreshing things. And again, do not go over those limits. Don't go over 100 for normal, don't go over 200. Or yeah, don't go over 200 for Cantina or 100 for mod and fleet. So hopefully that wasn't confusing, because we just repeated the words 50 and 100 about 16,000 times. So now that we've kind of covered how you should refresh during this event, assuming your crystal income can withstand it, we need to talk a little bit about what you should farm. So let's start off first with Cantina. And I will say, if you are in the middle of farming a character right now, if you can at all help it, stop farming that character. And the reason why is because signal data, while it is also needed alongside of characters, also has the opportunity to drop Omicron materials. It doesn't matter what character you're going after, none of them have the opportunity to drop an Omicron on it. And I realize the drop rates on these are garbage. They are really bad. In fact, the last time we had double drops and I was spending all this energy, I didn't get it to drop a single time. And while that does stink, it would be great if most of your energy was focused there, and on the off chance that it happens, you can get an extra benefit of it. Now, as to which energy you should be farming, I'm not going to really speak to that. For the longest time, from a crystal comparison, it really looked like the green was the best. I've recently gotten more data that doesn't really say that the green is bad to focus on through here, but it is suggesting that it could be on the same level. So basically, in an effort to be transparent, just farm one of the signal data. It'll have good value. You need all of them at the end of the day. And once I get a bigger data supply, we'll kind of go over and rehash which one of these might be the best from a crystal comparison if you're going to be buying some from the stores and getting some from the nodes. So really just focus on your signal data. That's kind of the short answer. Ignore the characters for a couple of days if you can help it. The Nodes do not really, or the normal energy really doesn't have this problem. If you do have characters you're farming right now, do go ahead and take advantage of those, farm them as you would. And then all of your remaining energy, as long as you're not on like a dark side galactic legend, should be focused into this 7B. We've talked a lot about this node before. Overall, it's just the best bang for your buck. Two huge reasons why. Number one, it is one of the only 2 Chirotech nodes that exist in game, so that already gives it a big plus. And the second reason why is because the MK5 datapad here is one of the best resources out there for Bronzium materials and relics. Now, I realize not everybody has a problem with Bronzium wiring right now, but it is a bottleneck that for most players, not all, depending on your farming habits, will come. And it's really nice to have that extra padding there. And the other computer Chirotech doesn't use it as much. And for what it's worth, the stick Chiro, or whatever we're calling this, the Chirotech Shock Prod is the proper name. This one is actually used by the majority of characters. It's for whatever reason, when CG made Chirotech for Gear 13, they did not make it a even 50-50 split. It's actually closer to like 60 and 40, and the Shock Prod is needed more, so that's another motivation to really stay on this node with as much energy as you can after you finish all of your hard node farms to be able to get the characters that you want to be able to get. Next up is going to be mod battles. Mod battles, typically, I like to stay over on this side, and I don't think this is going to be a thing this time, so we'll see here in a few days, or a day. I guess you all already know this already. You do have to be careful. Sometimes when they do mod battles, they only put double drops on these, and they don't put double drops on the mod themselves. That varies across different times because you have mod challenges over here, which also uses mod energy, and then you have mod battles. And sometimes before, they've only put in the double drops here. So before you go and spend your 1,000 hoarded energy and your several other 100 throughout the days, do pay attention to that. Make sure they actually do have the double drops here, and it's not just on one or the other. Typically, it is mod battles. Once you get in here, then just kind of pick whatever you want, whatever you need at the moment. The value on all of them is pretty much the same. There used to be a little bit of variation if you were buying these with crystals, but these are now so easy to get. I really wouldn't suggest that anyone buy them with crystals. They're really the best way to get them is through refreshing the energy, which is what we're doing in this hoarding, or not this hoarding, but in this double drop situation. And last but not least is going to be fleet. Now, fleet is slightly nuanced, not quite as simple. Again, go after your hard nodes first, finish off your characters. There's really no reason not to get them. There's no Omicron mat sitting on one of these other random nodes that you can go ahead and take advantage of. But after you do that character farm, there are 2 nodes that you're going to want to focus on. It's going to be one or the other, depending on what your needs are. This is really where my needs land, is on this 1D Endor, and there's 2 reasons why. Number one, it's cheaper than the other one, so I can do it more times. And the other thing is that it is really good for relic salvage. When you focus on the MK5 Fabrotech datapad, this is the same exact datapad that was in the Chirotech node that can be converted for 10 relic salvage for Bronzium wiring. That's the highest it gets. It's really good value. And then on top of it, this piece honestly kind of sucks, but it can be turned into the carbonite transistor thingamabob. So overall, the node is pretty good. If you don't really care about the relic salvage that much and you're just looking for a more overall good value, the furnaces are pretty good. And I realize that some people right now actually aren't having an issue at all with furnaces because of the MK2. If that is your case, if it's not, these other 3 can be used as relic salvage. The furnace is good. It's a good node. If you have like 10,000 of these and you can keep getting more because you just have a huge surplus of MK2, you might be slightly interested in the medpack one. I really don't like this node that much overall. It does not hold that much value just between these 2 things. The only reason to do it is if you're literally at 0 medpack salvage right now. And I would really encourage anyone out there who has a huge medpack crunch, if you're still on that, if you have not already done so, and many of you probably have, but if you have not already done so, you really need to dedicate Shard Shop currency as well as Guild Event 1 tokens specifically to med packs. The only thing I buy with this currency at all is med packs. So if I go down here and there's no med packs, I just don't buy anything with the Mark 1 currency or the Get 1 currency. That's pretty much how I play it. I don't go and looking for other things that I might need or might be low on. It's just for med packs because they're in such high demand when it comes to that Gear 12. On top of that, the Shard Shop currency actually does have some pretty good value when it comes to med packs as well. You won't really be able to completely curb out that crunch just by this, though. It's more of a slow drip here that you'll get over time, and it doesn't always appear, so that also does add to the slow drips. But if you combine both all of your Get 1 as well as your Shard Shop currency every single time over time, that crunch will start to lighten up, and you can start to use your fleet energy in ways that you just have overall more value tied to them. And I guess this Probably goes without saying, but the main reason why we're not getting med packs from the MK2 currency, just because their overall value is way lower when you compare it to all the other things that can be bought in there. Just looking at that real quickly, or really not real quick. Oh yeah, so like if you look at this, the purple pieces, which are typically cheaper for Shard Shop currency and get 1, then the other side is going to be 475 for just 5. When you look at what is supposed to be really the more expensive piece, it is only 335, coming out to overall better value. So that's basically how it boils down to when it comes to fleet energy. Pick the furnace node or the bronzium node that we mentioned, and really if you are at 0 med packs, then obviously go after the med packs as well. And just for funsies, let's go ahead and look at the one piece that we've been talking about this entire time that is on both the Chirotech node as well as the fleet node. But until the next time, thank you guys for watching, and stay awesome.